Friends, we have a message from Betway, the sports betting app that backs you to trust your hockey instincts. If you consider yourself an NHL expert, this is the app for you. If you think you know who's going to win games between the Senators and the Maple Leafs, and the Canadiens and the Jets, and the Flames, and the Oilers and the Canucks, I know I'm mentioning all of the Canadian teams. If that sounds like you should check out the You Lead, You Win offer from Betway. Betway will pay you out as a winner if a team leads 2-0 in any match involving a Canadian team with a $20 max stake. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play, and please always play responsibly.
It's been days, man, and it's been an adventure on there. I have to say, you remember that old Ilya Brizgalov quote? Why do you have to be so mad?
Why you have to be so mad? It's only a game.
It's only a game. I can't figure out why everybody is like rushing to dunk on Chris Pronger. It makes no sense to me. Like, to me, he's giving context. I read through both of the two long threads specific to what players make. I fine-tooth combed it to see if I felt like he was trying to curry any sympathy. I think he was really just trying to educate and contextualize some of the things an athlete faces that the average person might not think about. And no part there did I hear him say athletes need to get paid more or feel bad for them. It was just more like, hey, look, when you hear this contract announced, the contract isn't on the surface exactly what it seems. And, you know, I get that other people are out there like, you don't have to pay this for the car, or this or that, or you know, your food doesn't have to cost as much. But even beyond that, like, I'm not sure the average person knows the players lose about 10% to escrow right off the bat, not counting tax, another 3% to their agent. I mean, again, I just think it was an interesting look from a guy who's very smart, always was well-spoken as a player, you know, pretty clear to me that he took a lot of interest in his own finances as well to have that understanding and to want to share it. And so I don't get this rush to hate on him. I think that NHL players or professional athletes in general at the top levels of the top leagues understand that they make a lot of money, more than the average person. The truth is they've put a lot more in their career than the average person too. You know, someone who makes the NHL has made a lot of sacrifices along the way, generally speaking. And so, you know, I think that it's an outsized investment in themselves. You get outsized returns. I've got no problem with it. It's a business. People didn't pay X to get in the building, which puts all that money in an owner's pockets. It doesn't trickle down to the players. And so anyway, that's kind of my rant here, but I just like, why do you have to, it's April, it's spring, guys. Like, you don't have to rush to Twitter to get all angry about every little thing. And honestly, it's easy to unfollow. And on top of that, I actually give credit to a former player. He's not using his Twitter account to sell you something. He's actually trying to help your understanding of one side of the sport. And to be honest, Julian, that's a side of the sport I've always been interested in. Like, not like figuring how rich a guy is, but just like how it all works. And I think it was pretty cool the way he laid it out. And I don't see any problem there whatsoever, honestly, in what he said.
There's no problem in what he said at all. It's my thinking, at least from the way I see it. We're in a weird time now because of the pandemic that we're in. Even if, you know what, I'll even throw the pandemic out of this, because people were complaining about athlete salaries and them fighting for money decades before we had a pandemic, you know, deal with inflation and all of that. It's the fact that when people see an athlete make a significant amount of money and they think about their own situation, I'm talking about just people generally, they'll think about their own situation, the money that they have, they kind of think it's sour grapes whenever they see an athlete, you know, gripe over a couple millions of dollars here and there or something like that. So for someone to say, hey, well, this is all the money that's going to get taken out of us because of escrow and taxes, and it still amounts to maybe a little bit more than what an average person might make. And by the way, I'm saying this is just in the mindset of someone else, not necessarily me here, but I think a lot of people just kind of get, for lack of a better term, affected by that. And they think, well, I don't want to hear about this. I have my own money issues here. But to your point, like Chris Pronger and thousands of NHL players who have played across the NHL and have made the money that they've made, this is the situation that they're in. So, like, yeah, I kind of, you have to just take it for what it is. Like, you know, Chris Pronger's not making the salary of a bookkeeper, for example. He made the money that he made in the NHL. And then when you hear about a player making $30 million over a certain amount of years, this is the money they take home. You have to take it for what it is.
Right. And this whole discussion requires some self-awareness, right? I mean, look, I think what I take away from it is it's easy to just assume, hey, player X is completely on easy street. And the truth is, and what Chris Pronger's laying out there is that, look, there's still some struggle in this, or it's still not as much money as you think. And so what's the lesson I take from that? The lesson I take from that is, hey, it's one of those simple old ones that your mother or your father might have told you. Like, walk a mile in someone else's shoes. It's not as easy as it looks from afar. Like, that's all it is. Like, I get it. People are struggling. There's a lot of people that work their damn ass off every day and can never hope to make over an entire 30 or 40-year career what some athletes are making in well, frankly, what like NBA players make in one season, but what, some even mid-level NHLers make in 5 years. And so, I understand where those people come from to a degree, but not everything is about you. Like, when someone makes a comment, you don't have to filter it through like, how does this, compare to my situation? I think that, it'd be nice if you can just separate yourself. And look, I'm also speaking from a position of privilege. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck either. So I'm not trying to smack down on anyone here, but I just felt like there was a real rush in the Twitter sphere to like be offended by this thing. And I think if you really just look at it plainly, there was nothing offensive in what he said.
I hope at the very least those same people who will look at an athlete and will shake their fist at the millions that they might make, even if it is taken away due to escrow and other things, will keep that same energy for the billionaire owners who still get to pocket way more of that money. That's always been my gripe whenever I see people get mad at athletes for whatever money they're trying to make in a contract negotiation or a lockout. It's always going back to the athletes. They're the ones who get plastered and they get looked at as people who are money hungry and all that. And it almost doesn't go back to the owners. That could be a whole separate thing, but I still think it's connected.
Well, it is. And look, this is our thing. I know enough of these guys. Like, it's not easy. A lot of their careers end at like 27 or something like that. Mm-hmm. We know you turned the big 2-8 this week. So imagine you were like having to start a brand new career right now. And a lot of players, the truth is, like, guys' names you remember that played on your favorite team, like they make like 5 million career in gross income. And then when you apply the Chris Pronger math there, that quickly gets down to about $1 million spread over years. And then they're starting fresh. A lot of them don't get educated. I realize in some cases that's a choice. They play maybe major junior hockey instead of going to the NCAA. But, it's not, there's a lot of the bottom half of the NHL is just really not that wealthy. Again, wealth is really relative compared to certain other parts of the world, of course. But I think that Chris Pronger's point really was that. And look, we're having this discussion. I guess anything that gets you thinking, that gets you discussing can be a positive too. I didn't see him out there though. I really didn't feel like the tone of that was like, oh, feel bad for these guys. I think it was just like, hey, here's something that you might find interesting. That's kind of my piece on it. I wish actually I've written a story for North Star Bets and the Toronto Star that it's not published yet, so I can't talk about it yet, but it's about a player transitioning. It's not directly related to money in this way, but it's sort of, it kind of would bookend nicely in this conversation, but I can't yet talk about it. But, I think that transition can be really tough for players. I don't think anyone should look past that. Most people's careers are picking up steam when they get to your age, right, Julian? I think you're feeling that. You expressed that this week.
Absolutely.
On our birthday episode, and a lot of NHL players get to this point and their careers over, pro hockey players, and it can be tough. And you can't make that money. To make that money go a lifetime can be difficult, especially when you see the inflation rates go up this week as they did in Canada, which is why everyone needs Bitcoin.